Hello there, Adita Lang. And I just wanted to share with you just a little something about protein. I think this is a big question that many of my clients ask me all the time. How much protein should I eat? Should I eat more protein? Should I eat less protein? I need more protein. I don't know where to get protein from. It's a protein thing. But let's discuss protein, shall we? Very briefly here. So what is protein for? That is the first key. Protein is for recovery and repair. So what does that mean? Well, hard workout, you need recovery. I fell and I hurt something, you need repair. I got sick, you need recovery. Are you getting the drift of this? Maybe you have a disease and a lot of things have been happening to your body, you need repair. So these are things that we need protein for. But now here is, to me, the most fascinating thing about protein, to be very honest. So before we get into how much protein you should have, let's just discuss. Again, we're discussing what is protein for. Here is, though, the challenge with protein. So protein does not just stay in your body unless you need to have something for protein to stay in your body. So I just finished a weight training session with a client here, as that's why the weights are here. And that is the secret to this question. I didn't really ask a question, but just bear with me. You need to have a storage facility for protein. So in theory, you are not an exerciser. You don't like lifting weights. You just don't want to work out at all. So you don't really have a lot of muscle on your body. Well, then guess what? You can't store a lot of protein. So the day that you get sick or injured, you need to make sure that you're eating tons of protein so that you can help with the repair and the recovery. On the flip side, if you weight train, guess what? Muscle is your storage facility. It is. Muscle is your storage facility. And it stores protein for you. So that means that if you strength train on a regular basis, yes, you need protein for the recovery and all that. Absolutely, yes. But you'll also be storing a certain amount of protein that, heaven forbid, something happened that your body really, really needs protein from. Guess what? It's being housed in your personal storage facility. So you don't have to rush out to go eat a lot of protein. Does that make sense? I hope so. So now when it comes to you as an individual, how much protein should you have? You know, there's all sorts of formulas out there. I can talk to so many different people, but here's the reality. The reality is we all break down and digest foods completely differently, and we all have different needs. So why don't you start listening to your body? See, protein takes longer to digest, which means that you stay satiated for a longer period of time. So let's say you are going to have breakfast and you've decided you're going to go the cereal and milk route. Not my favorite. I can talk to you about that on a different video. But if you go on the cereal milk route, let's say you had that at 6 a.m., by 9, you're going to be starving because nothing was able to really keep that food in your system, because carbohydrates, even if they're processed, they break down, they digest quickly. So we don't need that. We need something to keep us satiated longer so we don't snack on foods that we shouldn't be snacking on. You know what I mean. So with that said, depending on how much time you have between breakfast and lunch is really going to dictate how much protein do you have. If you're going to have a quick breakfast and you're going to go and take an exercise class, so you need some carbohydrates for that, and then right afterwards maybe you have a protein smoothie, and that's going to keep you satiated. But if you're going to have breakfast really early in the morning and you know you won't make it to lunch until, I don't know, 1 o'clock, then your breakfast should be all protein and good quality fats, because fats also take longer to digest. So you start playing around with things. Let's say you had lunch today and you finish lunch and within an hour you're starving. I want you to look back at lunch and say, did I eat enough protein for me as an individual? Maybe it included a little tiny piece of chicken. So now in your mind you know, oh, you know what, I think I need more chicken than that. That's not enough for me. So you start gauging your protein intake by how hungry you are. This is the thing that will keep you satiated. And there are periods of time, maybe when we're stressed, maybe when our brain is overly functioning, that we even feel hungrier. Then we probably need more protein to keep us satiated longer. The same goes, the other trick here is right before a meal. So right before lunch or right before dinner, if you are famished, then look back at the meal before and figure out, did I have enough protein in there? And so now protein comes in various different forms. You have your animal proteins. You've got your fish, your chicken, your beef, all the animal proteins. You know what those are. But then on the flip side, you also have plant-based proteins. And ideally, we don't want to consume so much animal protein, so we should really mix it up. How do you mix it up? Well, raw nuts and seeds are wonderful sources of protein and good quality fat. My favorite is raw almond butter, I must admit. I put it on an apple. Everyone hears me say this all the time because my apple and almond butter is like my sacred snack. I love that thing. Anyways, so raw nuts. And I said raw, and that's a whole other conversation we can have another day, but when you roast nuts, the fat composition isn't that good for you, and you lose a lot of good quality stuff. So raw nuts and seeds, bottom line. That's one way of doing it. Then you've got your beans. Beans are an incomplete protein, but when they're combined with a grain or a seed, they become complete. Hummus, a complete protein because it is made with tahini, which is pureed sesame seeds. Good thing, right? Now, that's a great complete protein. Beans and rice, a complete protein. The key is to have more beans, less rice. That's, just the way it is. But it's a complete protein. So there's other ways of getting protein. Did you know that most of your greens have a good amount of protein in it? Did you know that dates have protein in it? Yeah, there's all these other things that have protein in it. And the key here is to just make sure that you're getting enough protein. That's what you want to do. So you can mix things up. Kind of change things around. Get a little groovy with your cooking and you will be feeling great, and you'll always have a nice storage of protein as long as you're lifting the weights. Bye for now.